Somehow I lost you. I don't know how that happened. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to make the tea. I don't know if I accidentally ended that. I didn't mean to. I hit the wrong thing and it went away. But we're back. Okay, so I'm going to make tea. And I'm going to talk about tea. So tea, since I read so much about it, to properly brew tea, you want to do it for 3 to 5 minutes. And no longer. If you do it longer, it will be bitter. Because the good part of the tea comes out in the brew in the first 3 to 5 minutes. And so if you do it longer, there is a bitter element in there that will come out. So 3 to 5 minutes, then you take the leaves out. Now you can use tea bags if you want, or you can also use loose tea. I like to use the loose tea. It's supposed to be a better quality tea, although there's certainly nothing wrong with using tea bags. They're usually the chopped smaller bits of tea, and they'll brew a lot faster, so you have to be more careful with them, or it's quicker and easier for them to get bitter. But if you use the tea leaves, there's a bigger surface, and they're not as likely to get as bitter, and the bitter element doesn't come out. So there's several kinds of tea. There's white, there's green tea, oolong tea, and black tea. Well, what's the difference in them? The white tea is a little leaf. When they pick the leaves, it all comes from the same bush, and it's called Camellia sinensis. And when you pick white tea, when the leaf first comes out, it's like this, and then a leaf opens. Before it opens, it doesn't have the chlorophyll in it yet, and so it'll be white. So it'll be closed. And then pick it like that so that it's white. That will be a very light tea, a very light tasting, a very light colored, doesn't have a lot of caffeine in it, because it just didn't get to develop into my leaf. The green tea, they wait until the leaf opens, and they pick usually the top 3 leaves, which are the real tender ones off of the bush, and then the green tea, oolong, they're all the same leaf, but it depends on what they do with them and how they process them. It depends on how it ends up. So green tea, they take it and they lay it out, and then they instantly dehydrate it or dry it, and then it's in its most natural state then. For oolong tea, you don't hear a lot about that. They serve that a lot in Chinese restaurants. Sometimes they have green tea and sometimes they have oolong. Oolong is, they take the same leaf, and instead of drying it instantly, they let it oxidize for a little while. In other words, they lay them all out and just let them start to turn brown. Like if you took any leaf, it'll start to turn brown. It'll just barely start to turn brown. And then after it gets to the place that they want it, then they will dehydrate it or dry it, and then they have oolong tea. For black tea, which really, if you brew it, it isn't really black, it's brown. But the dried leaves look black. So they take the same green leaf, and instead of drying it right away, they lay them out, they let them oxidize even longer. They're the ones that oxidize the longest. They turn the darkest brown, and then when they get fully oxidized, then they dry or dehydrate those leaves, and that's how you get the green tea or the oolong or the black. And of course the white, they pick it before the leaves turn green. So that's how you get your different teas. And sometimes the green has a little less caffeine because it hasn't developed the strength. Now the difference in some of the things with coffee and tea that I learned, coffee is acidic and tea is alkaline. So if you have any kind of inflammation in your body, generally coffee will make it worse. Tea won't. Tea is alkaline, and you want your body to be alkaline, not acidic. The difference also is coffee has 3 to 4 times amount of caffeine in it that tea does. So it is not only has more caffeine, coffee also gives you more of a jolt. So if you drink coffee, you get a rush of caffeine. Now, if that's what you want, because you want to be awake, then good, go for it. But if you don't want that, if you want, tea gives you a gentle rise of caffeine, and it'll level off, and it will last a little longer and then taper down a little bit. It won't be such a drastic change, but it will help a little bit. It's usually not as bad. Now, if you're incredibly sensitive to caffeine, you might still not do good with the tea. They do make decaffeinated tea. Decaffeinated is actually tea that was regular caffeinated tea that they put it through some process to remove the caffeine, but it doesn't remove it 100%. It just removes most of it. If you want completely caffeine free, you have to do an herbal tea, which is not really a tea at all. They just call it tea because the real name of it is a tisane. And people in America have no idea what the word tisane is, so they have to call it tea. But usually it's herbals. Or you can do, and I don't remember if that has caffeine, but there's another tea called rooibos tea. Rooibos is a totally different bush. It's an African red bush. It's just a different leaf. It's a different thing. So, but I'm going to make regular tea today. And I actually am going to make green. I have some black tea. I have all kind of tea because I love to make tea. So let me show you what I have. Let's flip this around and see if I can do this without turning the thing off again. Look what I have. I'm going to put this back a little further. I have a tea kettle. Okay, I got this at Walmart. Really cool, huh? So I'm going to add water to it. I like it because it's all ceramic. You don't want a tea kettle that has plastic. If it has plastic in it, the plastic leaches chemicals. You don't want to drink that, especially if it's subjected to hot or boiling water. So you want, this one is ceramic and has metal in the bottom. You can just use a pan on the stove or a tea kettle on the stove as well to do this. But this one is nice because you don't have to heat up the whole stove. I've taken this with me before on, like to a hotel, on a trip and made tea in a hotel. You don't even need a stove. So it has a little button over here. You turn that on, see it's lit. There we go. There's my little button. And then I'm going to put on the lid. And when it's done, that button just pops up. And it's done. So let me show you what I have. This is loose tea. This is one that I have. This tea company, it's called the Tea Spot. I don't even know if this still exists or not. This is a green tea. Now, if you don't like green tea, some green tea is a little bitter, grassy tasting. This, look what this has in it. Green tea with strawberry and rhubarb. Okay, so this, get a flavored tea like this if you don't normally like green tea. And so let me show you what this looks like. Oops, that's a little too much. The leaves of it. See how it's, let me find one. Look at that right there. That looks like a stick. That's not a stick. That's a twisted leaf. So the leaves of whole tea are bigger. Here's another one right there. See how that's a bigger piece? This is loose leaf tea is like this. Now what I do with this is, because I have to take the leaves out from the tea before it gets too bitter, I use this. It's a little straining basket. It's just easier to take the tea leaves out after. You can even get your own thing to make your own tea bags if you want to. But this one, there he is. I'm going to make 3 cups of tea. So usually you do 1 teaspoon per cup. So see, there's 1. Now, if you don't like it this strong, just do less. If you want it stronger, you can do more. You've probably heard the thing that says if you're making cups of tea, do 1 per cup plus add 1 for the pot. You can do that, but what that does is just makes it stronger. And it depends on how many cups you're making. So if you're making, most teapots hold 6 to 8 cups of tea. So if you're making that many and you add 1 teaspoon, that'll make it a certain amount stronger. But if you're only making, today I'm making like half a teapot, well, that'd make it a lot stronger. And see, I'm not real crazy about it real strong, so I'm doing mine not so strong. So there are a lot of teas now, like I said, in the grocery store you can find good teas. So I'm going to put that in my teapot. Let me show you what else I have. This is a tea warmer. This is neat. See, it has a little candle in there. You just light it. This is a metal one. They also make ceramic ones. This will keep your teapot warm the best. You can get a tea cozy. It's like a little quilt. That works too. But this works better. That is about to boil because I hear it. Then, look, I like this. This is called Demerara sugar. These are the cubes. You can get the loose sugar too. What this is raw sugar. It does not, a lot of people call it brown sugar. This is not actually brown sugar. Brown sugar is white bleached sugar, regular old white sugar that they've added molasses to. This is unbleached natural sugar. So it's in its more natural, somewhat more natural state. It's still processed into little sugar grains, but it is less processed. So that's ready. So I got my teapot, and I've had my teapot sitting over here with hot water in it, because you pre-warm your pot. That way you don't pour boiling water right in your pot and crack it or something. Plus it just gets the pot ready to go. You dip that down in, then this is ready, so I'm going to pour it. Now you want tea, for black tea, you want it at a full rolling boil. or it won't brew it. It'll be kind of weak tasting tea, and you wonder, well, it tastes like nothing. Yeah, that's because you didn't get the water boiling. It has to be a full boil. For green tea, you really want it, and white tea, you want it to be not quite boiling, so I let it sit there for a minute. Now, ooh, it's thunder in here. I'm going to put that lid on, and I'm going to time it for 3 minutes. You can do 3 to 5 minutes. I don't like it strong, so I always do on the lesser side. I always do 3 minutes. So, I'm going to let it sit there. You can see it's steaming a little bit. I want to show you my tea, my little teacup and my little tea plate. Look at this. I'm going to move this over here. I found this. I got a bunch of teacups in an antique store. It was so fun. You know, the interesting thing about this, they don't actually match. It was on sale so cheap in an antique store, and I thought, why is that on sale so cheap? And it had a note on it that said this is a mismatched set. I'm like, really? You're kidding. They're made by 2 different companies. There really is not a matched set. See, that's one company, that's another company, but the colors are the same. So, hey, it looks like it matches to me. And I like this because, see, I can put my little shortbread cookie over there. And I love my little tiny spoon. Aren't they cute? I have a bunch of tiny spoons, tiny forks, tiny knives. All kinds of fun stuff for tea. Okay, so I got that going, and we got our shortbread going. There we are. Okay, so someday I think I'll do a video with a whole afternoon tea. Maybe that'll be fun with all the other stuff. Or maybe we'll make something else. I just thought this would be fun because I've always fantasized I had my own cooking show, but not really. Because then I saw a documentary about that one time, and it said that the people who do those, they work 12 to 16-hour days getting those things filmed perfectly. And I said, no, that's okay. I think doing it like this is perfectly fine. So, well, hello. Hi, Diane. I'm on vacation today. I'm having fun with a live video. I'm making tea and shortbread and thought I'd invite people to watch. So I thought it would be fun to have your own cooking show, but not if I have to work myself to death to do it on television. So hey, guess what? I can do my own homemade cooking show, can I? And it doesn't matter if you mess up because it's just fun that way. So my tea is brewing. My shortbread, let's see what that says. Oh, we only got 7 minutes left. Let me check and see what that looks like though. Oh yeah, he looks pretty. Oh, it smells so good. Too bad you can't smell over the phone, huh? It smells really good. Okay, so then I was going to tell you some more about tea as I was reading the books. Oh, an interesting thing I learned about tea. I just have all this information from reading all these books about tea. Can't believe how much information is in my head about tea. One of the things is that they tested tea. You may have heard this. That you've heard that, oh, tea has tannins in it. Oh, I'm not sure we should worry about that. Tannins are what they use to tan leather. So that sounds pretty rough, doesn't it? I don't think I want my insides tanned like leather. Well, that information came from scientific testing that they did. Oh, tea's ready. That they did in the 1920s. And so what happened is they only, in the 1920s, you can't imagine they had a whole lot of science then. I'm just taking out this strainer. Here, I'll show you real quick. Without trying not to drop it. There it is. Maybe taking out the strainer. I'm going to take the lid. I actually take it and set it in the lid. That way it doesn't drip all over the place. And put my lid on. So in the 1920s, they tested it, and that's when they came up with this thing that, oh, tea has tannins in it. Because the scientific ability they had in the 1920s tested it positive for tannins. Sometime, I think about the 1990s, somebody started questioning that and said, but gee, that's awfully old information. I wonder if that's actually accurate. Why don't we retest it with modern day science and see if it's correct? So what they actually found out is tea, guess what, doesn't have tannins. It has polyphenols, but in the 1920 abilities that they had, something that's in tannins tested positive. It tested positive for it because it has some similar element in it, but it was a false positive for tannins. It actually has polyphenols. Polyphenols are plant compounds, the enzymes and the things that are in plants, the things that are really, really good for us. They give us the vitamins and the enzymes that we need. So tea is not really have tannins in it. It has polyphenols, and they're really, really, really good for you. So now, let me get this. Really trying not to turn the video off again. I am such a klutz with this because I'm just not used to doing it. Okay, here we go. Here's my teapot. Trying to fix this where I can angle it right. Ta-da! There. Look. Hold the little lid because if you don't, this can come crashing down. Now this is green tea. This is why, oh, it looks like, water. No, it's green tea. So it is not very dark. This is what green tea looks like naturally. I'm going to light my little candle. And I'm going to put this on here. That'll keep it warm. See what I'm doing? Going to move it closer. As you can tell, I could not do a real TV show by myself. My staging. Oh, okay. Said I paused. I can't not hit stuff. All right, here we go. There's my tea, my teapot on my tea warmer. I'm too close. There. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some sugar. Now you can put milk in your tea if you like. They do that a lot in Britain. It's best to not put cream in your tea because tea is a real, especially green tea, tea is a real light taste. And if you put cream in it, it's going to overpower your tea. I've even heard people say it can curdle the cream. I'm not sure if it does that or not. But it's too strong for tea. So if you want something in your tea, you want milk. And you just add a little bit of milk. Personally, I've added milk to tea and can't really tell a big difference in the taste. And I don't like the look of it cloudy. It's so pretty clear, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? I really don't want it cloudy, so I decided no milk. But yes, I must have sugar. And this is the sugar I use, this little Demerara sugar cubes. They're so cute. And again, as I said earlier, this is not actually brown sugar. This is unbleached raw sugar. And you can also get that loose. And you can add 1 or 2. We can add whatever you want. I'm going to add 2. And those, because they press these little cubes really hard. It takes a minute or 2 for these to dissolve, but they will. Then I'm going to stir. Excuse me. So then, let me tell you something about tea that a lot of people have. Do you know that there are misconceptions about tea? Who knew? One of the biggest rampant ones that you've probably heard, and a lot of people have heard, is that if you drink tea, you must hold your pinky up. Don't do that. That is a misconception. You do not hold your pinky up. First of all, you cannot hold your pinky up or you're going to tip your tea over. But the reason that you don't hold your pinky up, from what I've read, is in medieval times, before silverware existed, they had to eat with their fingers. And so they would pick up all their food with their fingers, like this. Well, what happened was there got to be a class of people that thought they were better than other people. That happens everywhere, doesn't it? And they thought they were better, so instead of picking up, all right, let's say I'm going to pick up this. Let's say that's food. Instead of picking it up like this, they decided they'd be fancy, and they would pick it up like this and only use their 2 fingers and their thumb, and they would hold their other fingers up, meaning their pinky went up. So what they were doing is saying, I'm better than everybody else because I don't use my entire hand. I only use these 3 fingers. And so it's a snobbery thing. Don't do it because it's a snobbery thing. The other thing I've heard is that when they first invented teacups, do you know when they first invented teacups, they did not have handles? The first teacups came from China. Well, if you eat in a Chinese restaurant, they still use the little Chinese teacups with no handles. Well, if you hold it like this, it's hot. So what they started doing, I think I have one over here. So you have a little teacup like this. Has no handle. But if you hold it like this, it'll burn the fire out of your hand. So what they would do is they would hold it like this, because it's the only way to do it without burning their hand. But see, look, it makes your pinky go up. So it was a don't burn my hand thing with the cup with no handle is what it really was. It wasn't, unless you're drinking with a cup like this, you don't hold your pinky up. And my shortbread says it's done. Let me look at that. Oh yeah. Get it out of the oven. Turn off the oven. Okay, we'll look at that in a minute. So what do you do to hold a teacup? You hold it. You put your finger through the loop. Don't hold it. Don't pinch the thing. Here, let me do it where I can see what I'm doing. can't do this without touching it. You do not pinch your handle. You actually stick your finger through it, and you just naturally let your 3 fingers fold under like this. And you put your thumb on top. Thumb on top, first finger in the hole. The rest of your fingers just support, the 3rd finger supports the handle underneath, and the other 2, see, they just lay here naturally. That's how you hold it. Okay, let's look at our shortbread. Yay. Here we are. Da, 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 da. Now that's probably a little too brown, but guess what? It's still gonna be good. So I'm going to go back where I scored it. You probably, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's there. And I'm gonna cut through it again. And I'm cutting in little bite-sized pieces, but you can cut them in bigger pieces if you want to. Just because this shortbread is real crumbly, and it will kind of fall apart on you, and I don't really want to wear the crumbs. I just want to put it in my mouth in one bite. So look at there. Oh, doesn't that look tasty? So I'm going to take my little tea. Look at here. That's my little cup. And I'm going to get a little piece. Cute. But see, this is so simple. Sugar, flour, butter. That's it. But these cookies, because they are kind of a dry, crumbly cookie, they're just perfect with tea because it gives you something to wash that down with. But they're really a sugar cookie. That's all they really are. I know I'm probably making y'all swim. There they are. Oh, yeah. My teacup. And my shortbread. Doesn't it look good? It's a perfect little snack. A perfect little snack. There we go. All right, here we go. Green tea with strawberry and rhubarb. Oh, that's good. It's real light tasting. And the shortbread. Watch, because this is warm. Look how it just, ooh, falls apart. Or melts in your mouth. So melts in your mouth. Ooh, and it is hot. It's hotter than the tea. My tea. So, I hope you enjoyed my fun little video. I'll eventually get used to everybody and their comments popping up. I've been doing the ones on Sunday where I do a testimony and sing. I've been doing those with the comments off because I've not done lives before and I'm not so used to it, and they're so distracting. And I'm trying to keep my thoughts if I'm giving a story of something God's done in my life. I wanted to not be distracted. But I thought I would try to do this and say hi. Here's another one I can wave to. Hi, if you're still here. There it goes. So, I thought I would at least try to say hi. So, if you wouldn't mind, share my video and let other people join into the fun. I'm going to do another one tomorrow. This is so good. I'm going to do another one tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm probably going to do a makeup one. Because I've joined a singing group where I actually had to learn how to do stage makeup because we sing at the biggest stage here in town at Christmas time. We sing at Barbara B. Mann, and it's so big, and they have professional lights that if you get on a big stage far away from people and they put professional lights on you, you have no features without stage makeup. You can't see, you just look like a white blank person from the lights and the distance. So I had to learn to do stage makeup, which I had never done. And I don't really do stage, I only do stage makeup for the stage. But I've used the techniques and some of the makeup to do everyday to go to work looks, everyday go to make, regular makeup looks as well. It's really helped my techniques learning to do stuff, and it's really fun. And I have found some really great makeup and skincare. So tomorrow I'm going to do makeup, and I hope you enjoyed having afternoon tea with me today. Now go brew some tea. You can use tea bags or loose tea, whatever. You can use anything that you have. Just don't brew it more than 3 to 5 minutes. Get the tea out of the water after 3 to 5 minutes, or you're going to have bitter tea. Let me show you this one that I found. This is a grocery store tea. One of the things that I found out is I wasn't real crazy about Lipton tea. Lipton tea is a little bitter to me. If you like it, it's fine. But I just, without that, because that's one of the reasons I thought I didn't like hot tea. Everyone's not crazy about Lipton tea. Have you ever tried this brand, Red Rose Tea? This is also in the grocery store. This tea is so good. It is, Lipton tea also is a little, what they call astringent. And if you ever get a high-end tea called Darjeeling, Darjeeling is an area of India where they grow the tea. That's why they named it that. It's all, known to kind of be astringent. What that means is it leaves a dry feeling in your mouth. A lot of people like that. They drink things that gives like a dry. If you like that, you'd probably like Darjeeling. I don't like to drink something and still feel thirsty. So I never liked the dry feeling in my mouth. So I like to feel a creamy feeling in my mouth. This tea will do that if you get this grocery store tea. It is not astringent. It is good. And just don't brew it more than about 3 minutes. If you use a tea bag, because it has smaller little ground up leaves in it, it doesn't have those whole leaves like I showed you earlier. They're long, look like sticks. Well, they're just twisted leaves. But it has more of a powdery leaf. It'll brew faster because more of the area of the leaf is exposed. It has so many more big edges. It's more edge than anything else. The whole leaf only is edge around, but it's got a big leaf surface. And the chopped up piece has more edge, and so more of it brews faster because it has more outlet to get out. So really don't overbrew a tea bag. You might want to do that. You could probably do it a minute, minute and a half. Do you know if you read the directions on a tea, I don't wonder if this has directions. Usually it will tell you brew 3 to 5 minutes. You ever read the directions on a box of tea? You know, most people haven't. I bet you haven't. It says brew, and they can say different. This one says on here, brew 3 to 5 minutes until desired strength. Don't do it more than 5 minutes. And tea bags, I wouldn't do more than 3. Because then the bitterness comes out. But the other thing you don't want to do with tea bags is if you don't dunk it up and down, you know that doesn't make it brew faster. And don't squeeze the tea bag when you're done. Don't squeeze the tea bag, because if there is bitterness in the leaves, it will squeeze the bitterness out. So what do? Lift the tea bag up, just let it drip for a minute or two, put your spoon under it, and then toss it. But don't squeeze it. You're missing 3 drops. You're not missing anything. But it'll make the bitterness come out in the tea if you squeeze it, or it possibly can. The other interesting thing I learned is most tea like this, it says it's orange pekoe tea. Do you know what orange pekoe is? First of all, it's not orange, is it? Tea's never, might look a little orangey in the cup, but it's not. Tea's not orange. This is a grade of tea leaf that's used. A grade of tea leaf. Orange, I think, was the name of a family that had a tea business, and they named it orange pekoe. Pekoe is a size of leaf or a type of leaf. It's a grade. It's a grading system for tea leaves. It has nothing to do with the color orange. So it just means black tea. It means regular tea. I thought it was interesting. So I hope you all had a good time with me today, having afternoon tea. Try some green tea if you haven't. If like I said, if you don't like regular green tea, get flavored green tea. There's all kind of good teas, and even the grocery store brands, they can be good. And you can get some, they're getting some better teas in the grocery stores now. So, have a happy, I think I'm really a British person at heart. That's where a lot of my family came from, having afternoon tea. So, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll play makeup. Maybe the next day we'll do something else. I don't know. Something fun. It was good talking to you, and have a great day. Bye.